A few days later, a question slowly arose in the sect, the kind that sounds innocent enough on the surface. How does a third-grade fire root become a heavenly root overnight? Just something people were curious about, nothing serious. Except that someone was making use of it. Xiaomei sat with few junior and outer disciples. They are the most easy to manipulate, some who are genuinely misled, and some who can go to any extent just to have support from people in power. Xiaomei knew people's heart. She never said anything directly, instead she showed up in the right conversations at the right moments. Eyes wide with gentle concern, voice soft, always just loud enough for 3 people to hear instead of 1. "I am sure there is a reasonable explanation," she said, tilting her head with that sweet, worried look she had been perfecting since she was a child. "I just hope the testing stone was not faulty, because if her grade was wrong, what about everyone else's?" Xiaomei lowered her head with a worried look which hid her smugness from others. That last part was the real damage, a seed of doubt that shook the foundation of Xiao clan, because the moment disciples with low-level spirit grades started wondering whether their own results could be wrong, the questions stopped being about Wei Lianhua at all. They became about the clan, about authority, about fairness. A quiet unease spread through the junior disciples like smoke under a door. And once that first rumor had done enough groundwork, the second one arrived. A direct challenge to Wei Lianhua's origin. She has no family, no clan blood, no one to protect her. When Wei Lianhua was less than 2 years old, Elder Kaio found her near a ruined temple, abandoned. He brought her to the Xiao clan, gave her a courtyard to live, and then left without turning back as if she never existed. Elder Kaio has been cultivating in seclusion ever since. For years, this made Wei Lianhua bear the silent contempt of everyone, shunned and discarded, an object of quiet pity, an orphan with unclear origins. Easy to overlook, easy to be bullied. For years, day after day, Wei Lianhua grew up alone in an empty courtyard with no one to run to. Now suddenly, the same story became something much more dangerous. Any disciple suspected of using demonic cultivation, whose origins could not be confirmed by a blood relative of the clan or a recognized clan sponsor, could be brought before the purification pillar. It was not just a punishment, but a slow and brutal death, stripping away the dantian, spiritual bones, golden core, and meridians piece by piece. Lianhua had no family to defend her, no elder willing to speak for her. Elder Kaio had disappeared as though he had never brought her into the clan at all. She had absolutely no one to rely on. Xiaomei had also noticed the changes in Wei Lianhua, but what frightened her most was Xiao Yuchen's growing attention toward her. As a child from a side branch of the Xiao clan, Xiaomei had been taught that only by staying close to Xiao Yuchen, the future heir, could she secure power and dignity. Over the years, she began treating the elders, casual jokes about their future engagement, as something real. Wei Lianhua, meanwhile, had always been invisible, quiet, obedient, and average. So when she suddenly revealed a heavenly grade fire root and became the center of attention, Xiaomei panicked. She had sacrificed too much to reach her current position. Without the clan's support and Xiao Yuchen's favor, her future would collapse. And so, quietly and carefully, Xiaomei began spreading rumors about Wei Lianhua without ever exposing herself. It didn't take long for Lianhua to learn about the rumor. All she had to do was to walk among the disciples. Lianhua sat in silence. Some things always repeat itself. In her previous life, she had experienced this before her death. After she found the list in Xiao Yuchen's study, something was slowly spread, that she uses unorthodox evil methods to cultivate, which is why her spiritual root changed. Same words, same narration, and spread by same person. But they couldn't prove it then. They didn't have the evidence, but the rumors alone caused significant damage. She was shut out, shunned, her standing quietly worn down until she had nothing left to stand on. It had been one of the main reasons she was so alone when the blade finally came for her. She was not going to let that happen again. The difference between her last life and this one was not just her cultivation level or the future she knows. The real difference is simpler than all of that. This time, she was not afraid. She picked up her cultivation manual and continued to practice. The next day, Xiao Yuchen found her in the clan library. He did not pretend the encounter was accidental. Xiao Yuchen simply sat across from her and watched her with full attention. For days, he had been trying to understand Wei Lionhua, only to realize the person before him no longer matched what he knew. His instincts, the same instincts that had kept him alive through countless near-death missions for the sect, warned him not to overlook her. He had expected her to be shaken by the rumors. Instead, she calmly turned the pages of her cultivation manual without even looking up at him. And once again, his understanding of her began to change. Xiao Yuchen asked, "Aren't you afraid?" Wei Lionhua looked up from the manual and asked, "Why should I be?" "Seems I was worried for nothing." Xiao Yuchen chuckled, which was a rare sight to see. "What will you do if they conduct formal investigation?" he asked again. "What can I do? I am just an orphan seeking shelter here. I can only cooperate," Wei Lionhua replied calmly. He was quiet for a moment after that. Xiao Yuchen was an extraordinary talent raised to become the future leader of the Xiao clan. Though cold, arrogant, and distant, he was far more observant than people realized, including when it came to Wei Lionhua. She had hidden herself for a very long time. With a heavenly-grade spiritual root, she could have easily become the pride of the clan, yet she deliberately remained unnoticed and average. It was a smart decision. Had she revealed her talent earlier, without anyone powerful enough to protect or support her, she likely would not have survived this long. His dark eyes, usually cold and indifferent with everyone, held something slightly different now. Then he said something that surprised even himself. Xiao Yuchen was not someone who spoke lightly. Every word he chose was deliberate, calculated several moves ahead. Xiao Yuchen spoke in a very calm and casual tone. "Marry me. I will protect you." Lionhua's fingers curled slightly beneath the table. Her gaze lowered for the briefest moment, a cold light flickering through her eyes before disappearing completely. Because Wei Lionhua had heard these exact words before, in her previous life. When her true spiritual root had been exposed in an accident, she had stood alone in the middle of a storm, frightened, uncertain, and with no idea what to do next. She had been happy, yet terrified. And it had been at that moment that Xiao Yuchen stepped forward and offered her marriage and protection. To the old Wei Lionhua, who had no one to rely on, it had felt like a drifting ship finally finding a harbor. So she accepted without hesitation, but fell into an endless abyss. Only later did she realize he had never loved her. While she believed their relationship was real, Xiao Yuchen had spent years planning how to use her heavenly fire root. And when she finally uncovered the truth, only death in the snow awaited her, his calm, unsurprised face the last thing she saw. She now knew what this offer was. Wei Lionhua lifted her head and said firmly, looking straight into his eyes, "No. I have a clear conscience. The clan will judge this fairly and give me justice. I don't need Master Xiao Yuchen's pity." She closed her manual, stood, and left without turning back. Behind her, the library was very quiet. Xiao Yuchen stood in it for a long moment, wearing an expression that had never been put on his face before by anyone. It was not anger, not calculation. The next morning, instead of slipping out during the patrol gap to train in secret, Wei Lionhua walked directly into the clan's open training arena. She chose the time carefully. It was the hour when the most people were around, senior disciples running their morning cultivation, junior members watching from the sides, a few elders observing from the stone galleries above. She got plenty of strange looks as she walked in. Murmurs rippled through the space the moment people saw her. She moved to the center without a care. Took her stance, and for the first time in either of her lives, she trained with absolutely nothing held back. No careful limits, no calculated restraint, just fire and control, and everything she had been building night after night alone in the dark. The ground suddenly went quiet. The disciples who had been calling her a demon watched her fire rise in clean, controlled columns, bright and precise, no trace of darkness at the edges, no demonic energy anywhere near her. Just pure fire, fully hers, completely undeniable. The disciples' unkind words faded as they watched her freely controlling her fire with precision. No way someone who practices demonic cultivation can cultivate so openly. There's no demonic energy around her. At the same time, in another compound, Elder Madame Shen had not been sitting still. While Lionhua was burning the rumor with her full view of power in front of everyone, the elder was moving quietly through the clan's back channels, speaking to the right people, asking the right questions in the right ears, calling in old debts that most people had long since forgotten they owed. She did not try to crush the rumors outright. That would have only drawn more attention to the very thing she was trying to protect. Instead, she redirected them, turned the current of whispers sideways, let it run out of energy against other more interesting pieces of information she carefully placed in its path. She had been doing this kind of work for 40 years. She was very good at it. By evening, the sharpest edges of the rumor had softened. Not gone, but no longer dangerous enough to draw blood immediately. It bought time. And time, as Elder Madame Shen had always understood, was the most valuable thing any cultivator could have. By the end of the week, the immediate threat had eased. Not gone, Lionhua was not foolish enough to believe that, but this gave Lionhua some period of peace of time. Lionhua stood at the window of her bedchamber in the early evening light and thought quietly about what to do with it. She needed more than breathing room. She needed real growth, the kind that could not happen inside the Xiao clan compound with every move being watched and weighed. The training arena had bought her standing, but standing was not the same as power. She needed to be stronger, faster than anyone expected,